Hello there everybody, it's me Leo and welcome back to another Stardew Valley Legacy speed build. So to finish up this week's series of builds, we're gonna be working on Leah's cottage. So first things first, I just want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. You guys might hear some traffic noise outside. So yeah, it's not surprising, but I apparently don't have time to do any recording that much this weekend because I have plans to spend the weekend with my mom. So unfortunately, this is the only time I can find to actually record this voiceover. So apologies if you guys are a little bit bothered by all of the traffic noise you guys can probably hear outside, but hopefully you guys will bear with me throughout this episode. But anyway, back to this build. So Leah is the local, I would say, sculptor slash artist in Stardew Valley. She actually originally lived in the city, but she kind of found the city life too overwhelming. And it's really interesting how her story of how she got to Stardew Valley is actually very similar to our character once we get there. But I'd like to think of Leah as a frustrated artist. You know, I've had a lot of moments with her where she kind of tries to impress people with her sculptures and with her artworks, and generally they seem quite confused and they don't really know how to react. And it's so funny, understandably though, because most people in Stardew Valley are kind of countryside people, you know, country bumpkins. I don't know if that's the right word I'd necessarily use, but I guess a lot of them just don't see or like don't understand where Leah's coming from, and that's fine. I think for artists, I think, you know, it's fine if you have a piece of art that doesn't necessarily reveal itself immediately. I don't even know. I do relate in a way because I like to think of myself as an artist. I do paint, I do draw a lot, and I love to do other things as well. But anyway, I had such a soft spot for Leah. First of all, she's very pretty. Second of all, she lives quite close to our farm. So I always bump into her, and I don't know, I came really close to actually marrying her. She is one of the bachelorettes in Stardew Valley, and I came quite close to marrying her, but I think I ended up with Abigail. I think those are the two, or those are my two personal favorite bachelorettes. I also really love Shane. He is pretty cool. I have such a soft spot for him, as I mentioned earlier. But yes, Leah's house is also located in the region called Cindersap Forest, which is the same region where Marnie's ranch is. And if you guys haven't seen that yet, that was the previous build that I did in my previous video. So both Marnie's ranch and Leah's cottage is built in the world of Windenburg. I talked about my rationale for, you know, the different choices I did when it comes to placing the lots in what world. So if you guys are interested to hear that, I highly suggest you check out my previous video on Marnie's ranch because I elaborated on that video. But for this one, it's actually like across the street from Marnie's ranch, or you know, it's a little bit more down the road, but you guys get what I mean. This is also really close to where I built Grandpa's farm as well. So I'm pretty sure once I actually start getting into the Let's Play, I will be seeing quite a bit of Leah because she lives literally really close to our place. But let me tell you guys that building here, I loved building here. It is such a beautiful place. I believe Windenburg was based off of like the English countryside, and I really love it. My good friend Devin Bumpkin mentioned in one of his first builds he did in Windenburg how similar the place looked to where he's from, which is Devon in England. I believe that's where you know, like I don't know, like the Bronte sisters are from or something like that, which I do like literature. I love history, you know, so it's me. I'm gonna try to avoid all of the references because I don't know if people enjoy them or not. So I'm just gonna go and, you know, make a caveat back to this build because I feel like I'm getting way too sidetracked thinking about other stuff. But yep, pretty much working on Leah's cottage. It was pretty straightforward. This is definitely one of the shorter builds. This is also one of the smaller homes. Her house, it's literally like one room. There's no other rooms, and there's actually a lot of stuff missing. Like, she doesn't have a kitchen, which I actually didn't realize at first, but eventually I realized that I'm gonna have to put a kitchen. So towards the end, I was like really feeling like something was missing, and yeah, I ended up realizing that she didn't have a kitchen, so I had to work that in somehow without changing the overall layout too much. But pretty much every piece of furniture, I kind of just tried to get it exactly how it looks in Stardew Valley. So over here we have in the corner her bed, which I chose like the artistic looking bed, which has a painting by Van Gogh, if I'm not mistaken. I would like to make a reference to an older video where I mistakenly identified a Van Gogh painting for a Picasso painting, and that was an epic fail on my part. If anybody still recalls that, please let me know in the comments below. That was such a long time ago though, that just makes me laugh. But recording voiceovers is so much pressure, just to let you guys know. Like, half of the time I'm not even thinking of what I'm saying, because I don't know, it's a lot of pressure, but it's a lot of fun as well, because I feel like I actually get to talk to you guys and have conversations with people. And yeah, so basically this main room in Leah's cottage, or Leah, I don't know, Leah, this main room, it's where she pretty much has her living quarters. So this is where she has her workspace, her sleeping area, living area / dining area. So I kind of just put everything where it's supposed to be. I tried to match where all of the items are located in Stardew Valley, just to make things as authentic and as accurate as possible to the game. I also added a couple of functional items as well that really speak to her character. You guys can probably hear the train passing by. There's nothing I can do, you guys. Apologies. I know it's so bothersome, but it is rush hour. It's like 6 p.m. like on a work day, so I just really don't have the time this weekend to record, actually. Plus I need to get this up for you guys before the weekend, so yeah, it's a lot of pressure, but you know, I'm having a lot of fun, to be honest. Oh, by the way, I have to say this in every video, but if you guys want to learn more about the series, you guys can use the hashtag SimDrewValleyLegacy for everything related to the series, and specifically for the builds, you guys can use the hashtag SimDrewValleyLegacy builds, and for the Sims, you guys can use the hashtag SimDrewValleyLegacy Sims if you guys want to find them. But yeah, at this point I still haven't figured out that she doesn't have a kitchen, so I am just, you know, nonchalantly placing everything where they're supposed to be, without even thinking of making space for a kitchen area. But I did eventually put like a kitchen area. Oh, also a couple of other things I added that weren't necessarily in the Stardew Valley are these woodworking tables. So obviously Leah is more than just a sculptor. She is a painter. She is overall an artist, albeit a frustrated artist, similar to myself. But yeah, I thought that she is definitely first and foremost woodworking Leah. I don't know. It's really fun because if you get to know her, you really kind of discover how awkward she is. Also, I think she actually sculpts ice, if I'm not mistaken, like during one of the winter festivals. Oh, I forget, because in Stardew Valley, each season lasts for 28 days, and each season has 2 festivals. In one of the winter festivals that happen in Cindersap Forest, I believe that Leah is the one sculpting the like the ice sculptures, if I'm not mistaken. I think she is. So you know, she is so multi-talented, she's so multifaceted, and I actually really love that about all of the characters in Stardew Valley. So at this point, I think most of the interior is done, and then I realized, oops, we don't have a kitchen, so I am gonna work that in somehow over here in this one corner. which also involved me moving a lot of the items around because I just wanted to make sure that everybody had space to actually get to the bathroom. I don't think I was able to fit in a kitchen sink, but I thought that it was fine since the kitchen area was super close to the bathroom. I felt like it was okay because, you know, she could do her washing up in the bathroom. So that's that. And also, you guys will see in just a little bit, we'll be working on the outside. And basically, I got so indecisive on the kitchen there. But on the outside, I felt like the outside felt a little bit plain. So I was like contemplating the idea of doing the outside decoration for Leah's cottage in the summertime. Typically I would go for springtime decorations in all of the builds, but in some cases I feel like the summertime is just a little bit more special and iconic, I guess. So in some cases, like what I did with Sam's house and with the mayor's manor, I chose to incorporate some decor items that would only appear during the summertime, and that's what I did with Leah's cottage because I felt like it was just way too plain without all of this decoration. But during the summertime, Leah's cottage is actually fills with plants. Like the entire front of her house is filled with beautiful, you know, potted plants and hanging ivies and all of that stuff. So I was like, you know what, I think this might actually look better. So I tried to, you know, just copy the effect by putting, you know, different wall ornaments that were plants as well. And I just tried to copy, you know, how it looked in Stardew Valley. So yeah, overall I was really happy with how this whole build came together. The only really challenging part was to take screenshots because this particular lot, well, it's really hard to take screenshots because the lighting, it doesn't really light up the front as much as I would want it. Like the front is always like shadowed, if you guys get what I mean. So yeah, taking screenshots was a little bit of a it was a little bit of a challenge, but it's fine. I'll get through it. So yeah, overall though, I'm really happy. I really love working in Windenburg. The next couple of builds I'm looking at will be built in Windenburg, but I believe that at some point next week we might actually be building in an entirely different world as well. So I'm not gonna give away too much, but yeah, I haven't built anything yet, by the way, so I can't really say for sure, but I'm pretty sure that at some point next week we're gonna move to a different location, and it's gonna be all good. So another thing I noticed, similar to what they had in Marnie's ranch, is that Leah's cottage also has this little windmill or wind turbine to the side. And basically what I tried to do to replicate that effect in The Sims 4 is that I added this wind spinner. It came with backyard stuff, and I really like that item because it has this animation. And it reminds me of like things I would see for sale on the street. Like there's this really popular tourist destination in the Philippines close to Manila. It's a place called Tagaytay. It's basically like a volcano within a lake or something like that. It's a really popular like highland mountainy kind of like tourist destination or something, and every time we would go there I would always see people selling like these little wind spinners on the street, and I don't know, seeing that just kind of reminded me of those things, which I should probably buy some because, you know, support local and all that stuff. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, if I decide to vlog in the future, I might take you guys along with me, because that's a really fun place. You know, you can go horseback riding, you can go to the actual crater of the volcano and like actually boil some eggs in like hot boiling sulfur and stuff like that. It's a pretty interesting experience. But pretty much to wrap up this build, I put some workspaces over here outside just to, you know, have a little bit of activity over here as well. But I think that is pretty much it for this build. So hopefully you guys enjoyed all of the builds we did this week. And I want to know which one is your guys' favorite so far. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up right here. You all have an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys next week. Bye bye.